All right. Well, welcome everyone. Glad you're here for tonight's elevation call, September the 18th, 2022. Glad you're here. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Good.
So anyway, we just want to get started. We're going to try to, for us personally, we would like to keep this call kind of brief. We have had a long week and a lot of travel, a lot of extra time on the road, and we're tired. So, but we're here and we're going to have a great call. Looking forward to our kind of a special conversation here in a few minutes, but we want to recognize all of you. Every single person on this call right now knows what this call's about. And just to remind you, it's about helping you elevate your belief, your opportunity, your volume, your understanding, your practices, in helping you expand your personal business. So that's really what we're trying to do here. And hopefully your takeaways from this call will be encouraging and practical and helpful. So we always recognize those who are on the leaderboard with all of Zolise internationally. And again, this is International Leaderboard, and we talk about it every time we're on Elevation Call. We find the people on our team who are on the leaderboard at that time on Sunday afternoon, and we talk about leaderboard of the enrollment leaderboard, meaning those who have brought new people on since the first of the month. So here we are, September 18th, and Dr. Steve and Jenny Todd out of Florida are number 9 on the enrollment leaderboard. And they're very familiar with being on the leaderboard. And then so is Kristin and Eric, Kristin Olander, Eric Whelan out of Georgia, who again, very familiar with the leaderboard, especially here the last several months. And so we want to congratulate, recognize them, and encourage all of you. Simple enrollments, simple work toward enrollments, build your business. And it's not about so much this recognition, but what this recognition means is that your business is moving forward with bringing people into the product experience or the business opportunity. All right, so we're going to move over now to personal volume, meaning from the 1st of September, whether it's through your auto ships, your special orders, your case orders, or whatever it is, it's your personal purchases that you're turning into either personal use, gifts, or retail sales, or in some way using Zolise products in bulk. So at number 24, again, Dr. Steve and Jenny Todd at number 24. Who is this? I can't read your writing. Wendy Berman out of California. I couldn't read the writing. At number 22, congratulations, Wendy. And then number 19, our friend, well, I probably should say Chris Blue, but it's probably Chris and Christina also right there at at 19, working as a team out of the Evansville, Indiana area. So congratulations to all of you.
And one of the things that we talk about on this call, and those of you guys who actually take the time to be on this call, you guys are all overachievers. You have had success in your life already, and you're actually taking that to a new platform. For many of us, we don't really know exactly how to wrap our mind around what I'm going to refer to kind of as the mountain of Zolise. You're moving a mountain. That's kind of the way I think about it. And many people will think about and coach you that when you enroll a new person in this business, you've got a really limited time window to help them define success. And so what does success mean, Hal, in this business? Would be, what are just visible signs of success?
Okay, well, there's several. One would, on the number side, it would be in your number, your personal monthly volume is increasing. Typically, the best way, success-wise, in the nature of this business is that you have new team members who are joining your team, and they're adding a little volume from their personal use and the team they're building. That's probably the most measurable way of success in the business.
And ultimately, as you continue to grow in volume, you grow in rank, and that equals income. And so you have to, at some point, focus on the income, and that window for success. If you ask Stephen Thompson, he might say you have a 30 to 90 day window. I wasn't like that. When I was introduced to this business, I wanted to learn how to do it, but I was a far cry from being able to really find success from that definition. And so, in order to really find out kind of like why and how or somebody create success over and over again, we go to the leaderboard. And one of the reasons that we really focus on the leaderboard is this is people who are enrolling people who are purchasing product to build their business right now. And
they're taking some kind of actions that are producing the evidence of successfully building the business. It may not be fast, but it is evidence of successfully building the business. We don't take attendance on this call, on elevation calls. You don't get points for good attendance. We don't give tests, so you don't get points for that. Really, the best way to measure that kind of success is through enrollments and growing your volume. Now, there's other measures of success that are less tangible, like personal growth, and that's awesome. We believe in that. We see that. We honor that. But personal growth needs to turn into volume in a business for you. Otherwise, that personal growth becomes expensive, you might say. If you're not making money and you're getting all this personal growth, it needs to be converted into actions that create the expansion of your team, which then is expansion of volume on your team. So anyway.
So, just kind of the traditional thought being that we have this 30 to 90 day window, we need to get in and make that, help people find success. That's partially true. But what I've seen and what I've felt and experienced in this business model is that the longer I stay connected to this team, the more valuable that I become. And every single one of you guys on this call, you can either tap into that power when you first start, or you kind of figure it out on your own. And if you stay connected, then there's evidence that you become much, much more effective over time. And so Hal and I have been really watching Kristin and Eric. We've been working with them very closely. Kristin does a mentoring call with me every week. Eric does a mentoring call with Hal every week separately. And what we've seen is that Kristin has been on the leaderboard, top of the leaderboard every single month. And this has happened for the last several months. And so I said, we've had Kristin share before on the call, just kind of some of what is she doing? But I wanted to bring her back. And Hal and I wanted just to ask a few questions of her because she's doing a lot of things right. And the first question, this is an easy one, and I'm going to turn over to Hal. Kristin, how long have you been a Zolise ambassador?
An ambassador, 4 years.
4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not just brand new in your first 30 to 90 day window.
No.
So I want to have Hal kind of ask you just a few questions, Kristin, and I thank you so much for being willing to share just your experiences.
So I think what we can agree on is that over the last few months, something's different. Over the last few months. Would you say yes or no to that?
Definitely.
Definitely. Okay. So it's that difference after 4 years. You've been involved 4 years, but this shift took place for you a few months ago. So how is it that you're consistently being on the leaderboard?
Okay. Well, thank you. I think what happened is that I transferred all that belief in company culture, community, and such onto myself. And I took a time of reflection and clarity. And what happened was that I reflected on my skill set, my goals, my vision for myself. I put all the distractions that had held me back that I'd, spent some time with and stuff like that, and really redirected that and took ownership and started implementing different disciplines and habits. That's a whole nother subject. But by doing so, I was able to really define my job description, and I set out to design my company, my organization. And I designed department heads and main points of distribution that interest me, that were along my personal lifestyle and goals and things. And this company has so much to offer that there's something for everybody at every level. But it was really finding myself in that and my role, and creating that vision for myself. And then I go out and I interview and I identify the match by noticing, what's going on around my environment, seeing what's happening, engaging with that, asking creative and investigating questions and interactions with others. I feel like I'm valuing and relating connecting and directing, whether it's for a minute or a lifetime, you never know who you're going to meet. But either way, I'm going to be impactful. If I'm out there just valuing and relating and being a part of connecting. And it takes a certain attitude. I make sure that my attitude is in certain disciplines and things, but really, what am I connecting to? I'm connecting them to that Grand Central Station where they can connect and have conversations with others, overcome objectives, build their belief system, get on that right track for their best product or business experience. I'm relying on the team. It's all a team effort, hands on deck. I also have really taken it seriously to be a personalized concierge customer service representative with the right tools to, identify whether it's a health or business need and the best products for that. And build volume with upsells, add-ons, and upgrades. Those are some of the things I'm doing.
So the first thing you said was you took ownership of your business. And all the things that you said after that for you, in your own words, is what that looks like. Would that be accurate? Okay.
Yes.
So you've kind of, all the things you just shared with us are things how you define how you took ownership of your business. One of those things that we wanted to ask you tonight, just one of them, is the creating conversations, because having been in the business for 4 years, you've contacted a lot of the people that you knew prior to being in Zolise. Is that correct?
A handful. I really
Okay.
feel like I've had a handful of people that I've had, but I've had to really go out and create an audience.
Right. And
I do have friends and family, but yes and no.
well, my point is this: where you've been emphasizing, what we've been hearing from you is creating new conversations with people you don't really know, to build that audience, to invite to all the things that we're inviting them to. So tell us a little bit about how you're doing that. Can you give us like some tips, some tools, something to work with?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. So I start connecting these conversations by one, consistently seeking, whether it's deliberately or spontaneously, ways to recruit for my department heads and my proteges, like a talent scout. So I could deliberately be, engaging with people like Wendy, who I've known for a while. I value this. I see the skill sets that fit a certain thing. I love the networking. I love the values. I know what she brings to the table. And there's that kind of deliberate seeking and waiting, and connecting. And then there's that more deliberate, which is that I can go out and just look at my drive-bys and see a business that's opening, an office that's saying I'm hiring new patients. We just expanded our facility to include a spa. In my drive-bys, I look and I see different plugins, so to speak. I love to walk into a place and after taking a step back and evaluating, who they are, I might Google them really quick, look at their Facebook posts, see what they're carrying. Okay, I see my own fits for them. And then I can act in with confidence. I know I've got something. I know that they've got something I need. My job is to go in and just say, hey, I'm Kristin, I'm unexpected. When I walk by, I noticed this, and that. Can you tell me more about that? Wow, and then it's just relating and asking questions that doesn't have to do, and I challenge you all to ask questions that don't have to do with family, sports, weather, friends, job. Notice things around, bring in others, maybe open a door somewhere else, engage in different ways like that. You can Google things like what are practices in my area, or I go to a new place and I'll go like, what are best beauty salons in the area? So if I'm driving, Lisa, you're on the road, Google, boom, best salons or bakeries. And, it's hit and miss, but it just gives me that practice of going in and making the connection, because whether it's a moment or for a lifetime, it's impactful either way. Something's going to come from it. It could be my confidence. It could be that they feel better. It could be that now I have a connection, for something else. But I kind of like to engage with getting to learn more about them and their lifestyle and asking questions about that. Because the way that I can capture their information is more through, I love that jewelry line. Would you send me that link and I'll show you more about what I do. Or maybe it's something like, I'm so glad you shared the story with your daughter. I can really relate to that. You're going to appreciate the article I read on cannabinoids and autism. Or, boy, you're an athlete. Oh, boy, something like that. Anything but, really, unless there has been a specific conversation about what we do, and that's the relationship. That's the first engagement. I am that first impression. I'm going to have to evaluate if I'm going to go that direction in the conversation, right? Am I making sense? Am I staying on track here with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask just Kristin, just for clarification, you mentioned department heads.
Yeah, and also what else? Yeah, department heads. So
What do you mean by that exactly?
keeping that brief, where does that come from for you?
So I want somebody, my social media mod squad. I want someone who can do that. I want someone who can line up my pet division. I'm looking for someone to head the Spanish market. Lisa, I was telling you about Tatas and Louise. And I found out through my Google experience, that I can do translation. I can write things and it will translate for me. So I learned some new technologies as I was trying to prepare for some of these deliberate recruits, so to speak. So I'm looking for people who can be someone who can kind of specialize departments, things that I can't do so well, that I have somebody that we can collaborate and align and become kind of the go-to person and really be a team of effort and diversity and talent and fun.
So your background, though, years ago was from corporate America. You don't need to get into all of that, but you had a corporate background, a corporate field work that you did, which you really enjoyed. Is that right?
Yes.
So it's really easy for you to understand the language, and for you, when you made that decision to take ownership of your business, you kind of think of it from a corporate structure. Like, I need department heads, right? Coming from
I
Go ahead.
did.
Okay. Well, that's again, so when you take ownership of your business, anyone who takes ownership, you're going to build it in your mind in a way that fits with what you're familiar with, and your language about that is going to be your language. But when it boils right down to it, you have to find the people who are going to kind of be those kinds of people. You wouldn't want to recruit me to lead your Spanish speaking group, because I would not do very good at that.
Mhm.
Right. And you wouldn't want to recruit me for your social media, because I'm not doing that. I don't do that very well. So, somebody else might say, use a sports analogy. I want to take ownership of my team. I need 2 people to run with the ball. I need 2 people to catch the ball. I need, this kind of thing. So anyway, okay.
I had one more question for you, Kristin, and you had mentioned Grand Central Station. Tell me what you mean by that.
Okay, yes. So as I'm out there, whether I'm a pioneer, sending you back to base camp, I love to be a pioneer out there and recruit and send you back to base camp, where you can get, it's everything. It's the upline, it's the company, it's the culture, it's the connections, it's the resources. It's where they overcome objections. They build their belief system. They connect with others that are doing the same thing they're doing. I need you guys to do that so I can go back out and prospect and work the field. I've got to have this hands-on experience so that I can bring it back into there. And when they come out and whatever track they take, whether they're a product user, give them a personalized experience, the best product experience, or whether there's somebody who's going to build the business on a slow track or a fast track. I'm out there prospecting and learning what it takes to do all those things, because every conversation gives me more information. Every conversation leads me to the next, I don't always deliberately go out looking. I just know what I'm looking for so I can identify it, but I help everybody along the way. So it's not a pick and choose. It's just I go out with an attitude of, I am so excited to go out and rendezvous and meet others today. I know I've got this, this treasure box of things. And if I go out and just mix and mingle, I call it, I say, I flirt and flirt. I flit and fit. I go flirt and fit. I go flirt with people, and then I fit them in to Grand Central Station so they can, get everything they need, the brochure of their dreams, so that they can buy a passage, a ticket, on the track of their choice. And we watch them because sometimes they want to change tracks. And sometimes we all have got to go back to Grand Central to get replenished. We all need to go back for other reasons. But most importantly, they need to go and get the best of the best so that they can make the best decision and lay the best foundation for all of us to come together as a team to move this forward.
So Grand Central was kind of this call tonight, and your upline, and putting them in touch with people who can answer their questions so you can go back out and flit. And was it flit and flirt? Or flirt and flit or something? I don't know what it was.
I want to make it fun and easy because there's so many words that we can use and apply no matter what you do, your personality. This is a personalized, social, relatable business.
So we had a third question, but I think you already answered that, and that's where do you find the people to talk to? Now, you've covered that quite a bit, but I'm going to give you a chance to, if you want more specifically to say, because you've covered that a lot in what you've already said. So where do you find the people?
Just everywhere, just everywhere and anywhere. I mean, there's Facebook and Instagram. There's the cold text messaging and the noticing what they're doing and supporting them. That's something that, that I love to do. And then finding ways to align, I notice you're doing this, this, and that, and then finding the alliance. I'd love to learn more and show you and connect the dots, and sometimes I'm very direct. How are you addressing ECS deficiency and incorporating that into your practice? Because they'll have a cannabinoid on their website. It's really important.
Hey, wait. Can you say that again, Kristin? I want everybody to write this down. Kristin, say it again. ECS deficiency.
Oh, are you addressing ECS deficiency in your practice? And how are you addressing that?
That's a
now,
big
are you addressing ECS deficiency in your practice? Oh, no. Are you addressing ECS deficiency, and how are you incorporating that into your practice?
You got Lisa.
I might have gotten that from Dr. Todd.
No, she's but this is a big question that people will ask me all the time is like, so, if you have an audience with a health professional, what do you say? And especially if somebody who's prescribing, it could be a pharmacist, it could be a nurse practitioner, it could be a nurse, but that's a great question, Kristin, because it really, obviously if they don't know what ECS is, then you'll know that in a heartbeat.
But you don't say, do you say, how do you?
How do you?
Because that's an open-ended question that allows them to expand upon their knowledge or lack of knowledge most of the time still, unfortunately, that anyway, so that's good.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I had to get that one down myself.
And there's specific things for different, there's specific lead-ins, and this is something for a subject for another time, but there are specific lead-ins for specific things. There are also very specific short resources to align them with. Lots of support.
So I would like to end our conversation with you tonight. If you could retell in brief the story of conversation that you had with someone recently where there was this encounter of just a back and forth, and they were carrying something, and at the very end you kept them engaged. Can you tell everyone the story you told us today about that?
About Miro, maybe?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know who it was. There was a briefcase involved.
Yeah, so I was on the plane, and this man sat down, and he had a weathered briefcase, and I've got this ring. And so he said something, we started talking, and I looked at his briefcase and just said something about, I'd like to know where, about that weathered briefcase. And he said, well, I'd like to know about your ring. Is that a girl or an octopus? And I said, well, this is a girl. It's me. It's in my 20s. And, he goes, oh, so how, we just started talking. That's all it was really. But what we learned was that he was, without even mentioning what I did till the end, I learned about his travels. I learned about his sports. I learned about his mother. I learned about golf. I knew where he lived. I knew where he traveled. I knew about his family in Florida. I knew about his weekend plans, all these points of light and fireworks going off. And so at the end, when we talked about some of the things that he mentioned, he wanted to travel, he wanted to get out of medical sales, he wanted different things. I was able to identify those points of interest and just say something like, I heard you mention travel. I've got something that's brand new. I'm not even sure about it, but the discounts, have been incredible and substantial. And you know about travel. So can you take a look at this for me? Maybe because you travel. Very organic. And also another thing too is I don't ask for their information, like, will you give me your name and address? I'll say things like I said before, like, I love that bag is sensational. I'd really like to have the link for that. Here's my cell phone, what's your cell phone number? And I'll send you like that. Or the other thing was, oh, what a great conversation we've had. Let's extend it. I'd love to learn more about what you're talking about. What's your cell phone number? Support the conversation, compliment, send them on their way. And sometimes the best time to bring in what I do is the second conversation. It's just to relate on other common things. And then if I ask for what's your cell phone number, I'll say is text or email best. So it's just another way to capture their information. So they may not even know what I do, but I've captured their information, which is the key right then and there. And to identify your points of interest and then to follow up with complementing that time together, the few things we had in common. And in our conversation, these light bulbs went off and I can see that there's some alliances. I'd like to connect some dots. When can you spend 15 minutes with me or something like that?
Awesome, Kristin.
Well, and just now that I know who you're talking about, because I didn't catch that part of the conversation earlier, you actually got him with Lisa on a Zoom call.
Yeah, we've done
actually
a couple of them.
So we're moving that forward. So you got him to Grand Central.
I got him to Grand Central. Yep. I said, you need to talk to the people who are moving and shaking and doing this thing. And yep.
So anyway, that's great. So thank you for the conversation tonight. Thank you for helping us all out with this call. And
Kristin, just to you have truly become a master of conversation and somebody who's able to really, really be aware of their environment and not in a selfish sense, but I feel like your real goal is just to bring light to other people and you're enjoying the process and your passion is showing up in the leaderboard. So we're just kind of taking notes and studying you. And I don't know if anybody else has a question that they would like to ask Kristin, because she's a wealth of information and she's a seasoned veteran in this business. And that's a great combination. Anybody else have a question for Kristin? Everybody else is already, they've already got all the notes down.
Got them.
That's good though. I did have one.
Christina. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Kristin.
It was, are you addressing ECS deficiencies in your practice and how do you incorporate those? What was the rest of that?
Are you addressing ECS deficiency and how are you incorporating that into your practice?
Into your practice. Thank you.
Are you addressing ECS deficiency yet? Yes.
Or what I suggested was make it one sentence, one question, and that is, how are you? As an assumptive question. And that way it's just an open-ended. So I don't even know what that is. Well, there you go. And so it's taking the same thing. So
especially if they have cannabinoids in their practice already.
Oh, yeah.
And Kristin, I know that we've already, we've talked about this just very briefly. We had Wendy on, a couple of weeks ago, but, this isn't really just you, walking and talking 3-foot rule. You've been great about staying connected with some people that you truly have wanted to have as your department heads for a while. And we have one of those on the phone right now, or on the Zoom right now with Wendy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to have you, Wendy. Where are you?
There's Wendy and
Scooby
Wendy's
too.
team, Scooby.
She's trying to duck out. We see you ducking out there. Scott.
And you guys, just to kind of tell you how this can work, this has been what Hal and I really love is being the Grand Central Station, and Kristin, you know, and Wendy and I have worked together in another business. And so when we were able to kind of reconvene again, Kristin was actually on vacation. And so I was able to kind of take the lead with getting Wendy onboarded. And then Kristin was able to come back in. And because of that, Wendy has shared with Scooby, Wendy has shared with Suzanne, and she's already an associate now and building a team. And Wendy, how often would you say that we all talk or text in a day? Wendy, you're muted.
Every day.
We were just laughing about that. Every day, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day.
And you know, Wendy, one of the reasons that you've been able to take off so quickly, I mean, obviously, you know, you've had success in other businesses, other industries, but you really weren't really an expert in this business.
Right.
But what you have done that has really been brilliant is you have plugged into us and you are texting us, you're involving us. I don't know how many 3-way phone calls and Zooms that you've put me on, and Kristin as well, you know, so, and Scooby, I saw you on Facebook Live as well. So tell us, what has you excited about Zolise?
So for me, like just getting it out into the community, because I ride with like motorcycle people and all that. And so I see like, you know, getting off the bikes every day, how much we're hurting, you know, we're like, oh, but that's our passion, right? So, you know, I've always thought like, you know, I always want to give something back to my community, just don't know how, but like when Wendy introduced this to me, I was just like, oh, let's see what happens. And I was like, wow. And ever since then, like everybody's like, Scooby, you don't put your name on this. You don't do anything like this. So what is this product about? So they're very curious because I've stepped in and I'm like, hey, dude, I got this magic, you know, stuff that just works. And they're like, oh, what's up with this magic cream, you know, or this magic. So they're always asking me now, like, what's going on? So I just thought, you know, when I put that video out, you know, Wendy had told me, hey, you got to do this. And I was like, I'm just going to make a video, you know, instead of find Waldo, find Scooby. And a lot of people did. They came up to me and they're like, found you. So what's going on? And I just, you know, told them about it. And they're like, all right, I want some. And I was like, all right, let's do this. So it was just a matter of putting my name to it and everybody's seeing, because people would come up to me with products like this. And I'm like, it's some scheme. I'm good. I'm not, you know, I might buy it and try it out, but I'm not going to sell it. Right. But this stuff is just, it's so different. And I've seen just the people that I've given it to, how it's changed their lives. And that makes me, you know, happy because I can actually give that to them, you know, so.
Well, Scooby, one of the things that's really impressed me, and I'm sure it impresses Hal, because he's always quick to say, I get too technical. I'm always talking about the endocannabinoid system and, you know, kind of the physiology of what's going on. And what do you call this topical?
Huh?
What is your name for topical?
It's my
Our magic cream.
our magic
Cream,
yes.
which is brilliant from a marketing
Well,
standpoint.
no, but you see, I hear it all different. Let me hear you what I hear. What I hear is Lisa gets excited about the endocannabinoid system and all the science stuff because she took ownership of her business and that's her world. I mean, that's her background. She grew up, as y'all have heard, she grew up in the home of an endocrinologist. Her mom was a nurse. She's a nurse with an MBA and all of that. And so she gets excited about that. And her ownership of her business and her enthusiasm was in her language when she started the business. So many of you have tried to take Lisa's language and make it work for you. That doesn't work for you. Same with this. Scooby, especially her and Wendy, but especially Scooby, can literally tell people, oh, it's my magic cream. If Lisa said, oh, it's my magic cream, it would not be understood. I apologize for saying it that way, but I'm just saying it's like, it just wouldn't go over the same.
Right.
But here's the point. You don't even know, Scooby, that you've kind of like taken ownership of your results and are turning it into an opportunity for you to, one, help people, and two, potentially build a little business. That's all Lisa did. She just used medical terms.
Right.
What Kristin said is she took ownership. And I will say that oftentimes when people have their first experience with these products or their early enthusiasm about the business, they own it. They own it naturally. And then they get overeducated and try to say it right. You know, that's like the workmeisters who have been bunny people from day one and their enthusiasm about what this did for their bunnies. That would not work for me. But has it worked for them? Yes, consistently. And so that's personal ownership of what you have to share with other people. Sure, learn from us, use the language, use the tips. But if you ever lose your own personal ownership of what this has done, go back and find it and then blend it with what you've learned in our Grand Central Station teachings. So anyway, that's.
Well, thank you guys for
Yeah.
sharing. And I wanted to just kind of reintroduce another person who joined the call, and that's Chef Sharon Michelle. And Sharon reached out to me on Messenger, and we have worked together in the past. And this is kind of what happens when you start building this business and you kind of run at it. As Kristin says, you create your department heads and you start not looking up, but you put blinders on and you start bringing people into the business. Then what inevitably happens is life, and certain people are going to fall away. But if you stay in this business, you will find people who come to you from other people's effort. And that's where Sharon Michelle has come from. And Sharon reached out and she sent me an amazing message about what Ultracell has done for her father. And Sharon, I don't know if you can hear me or not. Are you there? Can you unmute at all?
Yes,
On
I'm
Zoom?
here. I'm here.
Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, girl, but you
I'm
came and
sitting on my bed because I wasn't feeling too well. I had a cold all weekend. So
well, I know, but you're working overtime now, but I would love for you just in a few minutes. Why are you kind of back looking at Zolise, building Zolise? Tell me why you feel that you need to pay this forward.
because my dad started taking it right in the pandemic. I was looking for something to do in the meantime because I come from the hospitality industry. I am now finishing my culinary arts degree, and but I'm a chef. But my father was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And I mean, I don't know how I'm going to work this out because of course there's rules in the industry as far as like, oh, because he stopped taking medication and he began taking Zolise back then. I found this, I'm like, because I wanted him to have appetite. He didn't have any appetite and he started taking this. Sorry, my dog. I have a huge dog. Shortly after he started eating more, etc. No. But his life strength has improved so much ever since he was diagnosed, before and after Zolise. And then now recently he suffered a fall where he was in the hospital and he was told that probably he wasn't going to be able to swallow. I mean, he was pretty out of it, but still there, but very weak. We stopped giving him Zolise because he was obviously in the hospital and my mom wasn't giving him any Zolise there when he was there. He thought, you know, he was pretty controlled over to what we were giving him. Even they didn't want him to even have anything brought to him, etc. Anyway, when he got out of the rehab where he was after the hospital, my mom sneaked in some, I'm like, just take it to him and start giving him at least a little bit each day to see what happens, because he wasn't eating. I mean, anyway, the puree was awful. He's used to good food. between my mom and I. My mom is like my master chef. She's incredible. She's been like my first instructor ever. And then me, he's used to eating well, and for him to get puree, and he was getting like pureed hot dogs and pureed hash browns. It was awful. It was really disgusting. And so my mom started bringing him that, and when he finally got out, my mom was very stubborn. She's like, "You're not keeping him in this rehab. You're going back home." So at home, we started giving him again. My mom started giving him Zolise, and finally, he's gotten so much better. He's very alert. Even after this accident that we thought, forget it, this is it. Excuse me. I've been sick all the weekend. I'm even under Mucinex, so I'm a little bit loopy. So he started, he even the other day, we had a call with veterans because he's a veteran and they needed some information, and he gave his social security out to the lady. And he has dementia, he has Lewy body, and for him to now be so alert and just asking questions, and now he's eating. He even had a sandwich. He's been eating. Today my mom made empanadas and he was eating them. I'm gonna post a picture. I have to post a picture today because his happiness, his smile, he has this radiant happiness. Even if he's in bed, he hasn't been able to walk yet, but they're in therapy with him. But he is, he's radiant. I haven't seen him like this for a while, and I am super excited. And I have to work this. I have to go on out there and do something about this, because that's pretty much what my culinary arts I want to direct this to wellness, to mental wellness, to try and have people eat better so that their energy and focus is there, but also to integrate this into what I want to lead this to. It would be amazing. And where my mom cannot live without the edge and the CBD oil. She's like, order me some more.
And Sharon did her first 3-way today, had her mom on the phone, and so she's just and then I said, "Hey Sharon, do you speak Spanish?" And she said, "Yes, I do."
Fully bilingual. Mm-hmm.
Fully bilingual. And so I said, we've got to talk about a specific group of people that I want you to work with. So
I speak some French as well, and I understand Italian. So yes.
So Sharon, welcome back. We're so excited that your dad is feeling
you.
better, and we're looking forward to getting to strategize with you. But you guys, I didn't know Sharon, and she worked with Linda and Jim Ferguson, who still are using products, but they're just not actively building the business right now. And you just never know when that's going to happen.
Probably last time we saw her was like 2.5, 3 years ago.
We saw her, absolutely, in Florida. So
Florida.
Thank you for jumping on, even though I know you don't feel 100%.
Yes, and I'm sorry that story's scrambled, but I'll get it, clearer.
Oh, yeah.
No,
everybody understood.
It's a great story, and everyone's chiming in. Lauren Lynch says that's so amazing. I'm so happy for your daddy and family.
Oh, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, Chris and Christina said, I love this story. And Dr. Susan and Brian said, great story. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
Yeah, so one final thing, then we're going to wrap it up. Jean Workmeister had a question for Kristin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kristin. I believe earlier I heard you say when you go out, you look for a specific criteria in people that you talk with. What do you look for?
When I'm out there deliberately looking for people, I'm definitely looking for people who have skill sets that aren't like mine, who have values and principles, pay it forward, servant heart, hopefully, a network and stuff like that. Those are things I saw in Wendy, just in the kind of person she was, how they interact with others. I like to watch them because I am interviewing people to bring in hopefully to main corporate headquarters to finalize the interview and do that. But, everybody that I meet, there's value in every relationship out there. So it's really just noticing, being of assistance. And then when I engage in those conversations, I can identify, their personality, if it's, in need of just some emotional support, maybe some options for health, a real soft, kind of warm fuzzy, or if it's someone who's more progressive and stuff like that. But and then I look for our connections, learn enough about them to see really what the fit is. So just talk to everybody, have fun, like that 3-foot rule you said. Yep, keep it simple, silly, and just go out and have some fun with people, and then find ways to capture their information that is not about you or about the business. Really, it's on other levels, because that secondhand conversation is really, for me, the most ideal to start the invitation.
Great. So just make friends.
Wait,
Yeah,
I've
and
never
that
heard that
backs up some
before.
of Steve and Jenny Todd stuff, I mean, there's treasure in relationships. My dad helped me really, really know that my treasure is in people, and I love people. So
That's
and
right.
all of us on this call, that's who we are. This is who we are.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jean. Good question. And Kristin, you've done a great job of sharing that. What I've seen, the changes in you, is that you have really just relaxed in the leadership that you have. You have really taken ownership and said, if it's up to me, I'm going to have to create it. And you went out and you found, no offense, but you found badasses that really complimented you in a whole new way. And I just salute you and Eric for just consistently focusing on the positives, overlooking the imperfections in the system and in ourselves. You guys are just doing an amazing job, and we're excited to see that continue.
Well, thank you. It's been great to, as I told you guys the other day,
Hey, Lisa and Hal, this is
conceive and formulate along with Zolise, and that's what it was, and the time is now, kiddos. Everything's in place. It's perfect. It's not one product. It's not, one resource. It's not one person. We've been forging and forming forward here all together, all of us, some of us for a while, some of us for a long time. But right now, one of my turning points is because it's a lot of turning points with the industry, with the team, with what you guys are doing, breaking this baby down into bite-sized pieces. I mean, so there's a lot of elements to the equation. So thank you for everything that you bring to this.
Thanks, Kristin. And I think Jenny Todd was going to help us close down. Jenny, did you have a question?
I did. I sure did. And thank you. Listen, I just want to thank Kristin for sharing. She did an awesome job. And I just love listening to her tonight. And one thing that I just committed to memory, now thank you, Kristin. I love the line, how are you dealing with your patients' ECS deficiencies? Love that line. I've committed that. Awesome. You did a great job, Nighthine.
Love and blessings to all. Thank you.
All right, well, let's wrap it up. There's an 8 o'clock presentation. Carrie Suits is going to do a great presentation on the national call tonight. So if you want to hear, what is her practice again?
She's a nurse practitioner.
She's a presidential ambassador with Zolise and a really good presenter.
Great presenter.
So if you want to be on a good presentation call tonight, you might want to check that out. So that's here in just a few minutes. Again, great job, Kristin. Thank you for everyone who participated tonight. And we'll see y'all on the leaderboard. That's how I'm gonna start closing this. See you on the leaderboard.
See you on the leaderboard. Sounds good, guys.
Good night.
Great job.
Bye, y'all.